Hello folks and welcome to another Premodern video. Today we're going to be trying a deck that I've played in the channel in the past. It was an original brew inspired by Phil Lorraine, friend of the channel. And today we're going to be bringing it back once again thanks to Phil. It's Mono Black Chain of Smog, so let's check it out. Before I got into the deck, I wanted to shout out the Sioux crew, which Phil is a member of, and who are actually presenting the event coming up on October 25th. So if you are in the Massachusetts area, look out for it. It's going to be obviously a fantastic event. They actually have a costume contest, which sounds very, very cool, the week before Halloween. Very excited. If you're around Massachusetts, check that out. The event organized by the bitter rivals of the Duress crew. And it's deck tech time, and in case you have not seen this deck before, this is Mono Black Chain of Smog. This is a deck that was, as I said earlier, inspired by a challenge to brew around the card Chain of Smog, and I did what I tend to do when I brew in this format. I grab black decks and I take that retro from them and play good cards instead. So, jokes aside, that is kind of what I do though. Instead of playing Dark Rituals, I play higher land count, and instead I just play more actual sources, like sources that I can use turn after turn. And obviously this works not as well when your goal is to play a turn 1 Hypnotic Spectre or to play an arena or something like that. But if you are trying to play a longer game instead of try to cheese out a quick win that gets blown out by Source Supplantress or Disenchant, this allows you to do so much better, because you are actually progressing your board state in multiple ways, not only by playing a big impactful card, but also actually playing land drop so you can play your next big impactful card. What this deck was built around is mostly, again, like Chain of Smog and the Rack, but the card that I think it's a very big sleeper, now people are catching on to it. And in fact, we saw at the Misty event that there were a bunch of the Ravenous Rats in the top 8 of that event. But Ravenous Rats is a card that I have tried in the past in multiple shells and always ended up being quite impressed by it. This card is so innocuous, yet it does kind of exactly what this deck does, what this deck wants, because not only does it a great job at just being a random 1/1 that you have in play and that you can, block a Mock Fanatic or a Jackalpop with, but also it can help you flashback Cabal Therapy, which is no joke when you are again trying to set up the rack. Then we have, some more discard with Duress and a Funeral Charm as well. Funeral Charm being a card that also kills a Goblin Lackey, Mother of Runes, a bunch of Elves, and any X1 that you want to consider. And, smaller, one copy of Diabolic Edict and one Snuff Out round out the removal. A new card that I've been wanting to try in this deck is Bane of the Living. This looks like a little bit mana intensive, but the effect cannot be understated. Like, it's actually quite strong. Allows you to sweep at instant speed, no less, which is no joke really. So I feel like this card is very solid in the format right now. It gets rid of course, stuff like goblins and whatnot when your opponent has gone wide. It is, again, mana intensive, so I don't think it's like a straight up replacement for Engineer Plague or something like that, but still a very strong card that when you are playing against a matchup where the sweeper is not relevant, it is just a 4/3 beater, which costs 5 mana, so it's not like a great deal, but you're splitting that mana between 2 turns, so it gets a little bit easier to work with. And finally, we have Skilldress Scrying and Curse Scroll, which are like directly the opposite cards in terms of what they want. Like, this one wants you to have less cards, and this one wants you to have more cards. But I do think that both cards are strong enough. And also, you can just like Skilldress Scrying, refuel, and then like cast the 3 or 4 cards that you drew, and then you're back into Curse Scroll range. So I think it works totally fine. But the key card that I think is extremely important is Phyrexian Furnace, and I have been playing 4 copies in my 75 of decks like this one that I have right here, mid-range decks, because of the Quiet Speculation decks that have become very popular. Also great against like Anger and any survival deck, and of course absolutely fantastic against Replenish and other combo decks. So all in all, I think Phyrexian Furnace, like the stock on Phyrexian Furnace is really high right now, and you can tell because it's like $5 in paper and like $10 on MTGO. So clearly everybody's aware that the stock is up. Stonks for that one. In the sideboard, we have an extra copy of Cabal Therapy. We have some plays, as I showed earlier, Perish, Dystopia, which is a fantastic card in black sideboards. I kind of wish I had space for a third copy. This card is a banger. Spinning Darkness in a futile attempt to have any tools against the black deck, the red decks, the particularly burn. I don't know how impactful it's actually going to be, because notably you cannot kill your own creatures, so you need your opponent to cooperate for Spinning Darkness to be good. So yeah, definitely iffy, but you know, it kind of is what it is. We could be playing the 3 mana gain 2 life over like 3 turns or something like that. I can never remember the name of that card, but I think Spinning Darkness is much more valuable in a plethora of other matchups. So I chose to go with Darkness instead. It's possible the other alternative is superior. I'm not sure. Skeletor's Crime, number 3, Powder Keg, extra furnaces, and one of my favorite cards in the format right now, Phyrexian Negator. I've been messing around with this card quite a bit. I'm playing it in a bunch of mid-range decks. I think it's overall quite strong. I think it works really well against Tide decks, against like Stasis, any sort of control deck. It has a lot of applications, and I think it's very solid in a deck like this that has a bunch of must-answer threats. The biggest hurdles that a deck like this needs to get through is, first of all, I don't know how stable the mana is going to be. We have 14 black sources and then a bunch of utility lands. You need the utility lands, but you also really need the black sources. Like your black costs are quite steep, especially if you want to be casting Spectre, Flipping Bane, and notably playing this Dystopia earlier in the game. So we're gonna see about that, but you definitely need a bunch of utility lands as well. So it's kind of like it's a little bit up in the air. Like I don't know where the sweet spot is going to be. It's also possible that we want 25 lands instead of 24, because the deck in the previous iteration that I tried was very mana hungry as well, and now with Bane this may be even more mana hungry than what I played before. I don't know, I feel like this is the kind of stuff that we're going to be trying to figure out today by actually playing the deck. So that's it for the deck. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and I will see you for round number 1. Welcome to round number 1. This hand looks pretty decent. We got good mana, we have some utility lands, removal, discard, a way to refuel. I think all in all this hand is quite decent. Playing against Enchantress, Mindstone. Well, that's getting wastelanded. I mean, it's not the best exchange, of course, because my opponent already put a Mindstone into play, but if my opponent is indeed a Mindstone style deck, then chances are that we can take advantage of their clunkiness. Seal of Cleansing. Alright, so here's Swamp. That is definitely not what I was expecting to see here, if I'm being honest. That's a lot of ramp they have over there. So we could just like cast a chain here. I think I'm going to. Like if my opponent wants to send it back, I can happily discard these cards here and be left with Swamp plus Skeletal Scrying, draw 2. Masticore, Exalted Angel. Let's see if my opponent wants to send it back. Definitely they do. This is kind of risky for them. I think I'm discarding both Smothers. Do I send it back? I think no. I think I'm good. Got my value. Now I can go for Hypnotic Spectre. Remote Farm. You don't see this one every day. I guess not sending it back was a mistake, huh? My opponent top deck another Soul Land. It's not great, so can't really race this. So I think I'm just going to cast the Spectre here, then next turn draw 3. This means we go down to 9, so this is fine. Maybe I should have sent it back. Like I wasn't expecting my opponent to top deck a City of Traders. Although I guess if they had put the Angel into play, it would have been bad for me anyway already. So maybe it's just correct for me to just send it back. Especially considering that I know that I'm left with Skeletal Scrying. At least they're kind of just spinning their wheels and not really doing anything. So I would need... how much mana? We play the Bane of the Living. No, I'm just gonna draw cards here. It just doesn't really make sense to do anything else. Mother of Runes doesn't really do anything. Let's draw 3, and let's see what we find. We have 1 Diabolic Edict. Oh, Snuff Out. Perfect. So we just do that. I guess we don't even need to... let's just cast it right now. I forgot we had Snuff Out, honestly. Do I even play out this Curse Scroll? I don't think so. I think we're just chilling here. My opponent with the Seal of Cleansing in play puts me in a little bit of an awkward spot. Oof. This Bane of the Living is gonna do some work. Do I want to play around Plow is the question. Because I really want to kill both of these. So my opponent has 2 draw steps to find the Plow. Like I really want to flip this to get rid of both moms. I think I'll just play out the Curse Scroll. And the reason to do that is just so I can, like the Mishra's Factory doesn't kill, the Seal of Cleansing doesn't kill my factory. I would definitely want to draw 1 more land. One untaps. Now they cantrip. Play another land, and they found Tooth of Ramos. That's not gonna do much. Okay, I'd rather just hold the factory to prevent the 2 points of damage. My life total matters a lot more than my opponent's here. If I find one land, Furnace, that's not one land, so I'm just gonna continue hanging out here. Actually, I want to cycle. Might as well exile here, but I definitely want to cycle. I don't think that my opponent's gonna have anything of value. Like I really doubt they're playing Replenish or something like that. We did find a Wasteland, that's a good pickup. And I think I'm going to Wasteland. I know that I just said that I really wished that the problem is if my opponent finds an Exalted Angel, they can flip it immediately. They can just straight up cast it, so I'm just gonna Wasteland. If I hadn't found exactly Wasteland, I would have probably done something else. I haven't done exactly Wasteland. Maybe I should have just played out the Vein of the Living. Ooh, okay, so they have Plow. They have Disenchant probably. If they have Plow, this is a really good exchange for me. Yep, alright, perfect. So we gain 3, and now I'm gonna play the Vein of the Living. Likelihood that they have another Plow is very low. Obviously possible, but definitely low. And we're kind of in the market for a rack. That would be a pretty nice pickup. 4 mana, 5 mana, Blinding Angel. Oh baby. I guess I'm gonna have to swing. No, because they just give protection. I'm just gonna hang out. I think I'm going to block here with the Hypnotic Spectre. My opponent can give Pro Black, but yeah, I don't think they will. They're not playing around Bane. And now I get the ultimate blowout. My opponent's gonna it's gonna play around Bane of the Living from now on. Now the damage is already on the creature. They can't give him this protection, doesn't do anything anymore. And now we start swinging for 4. Pretty hot if you ask me. Ravenous Rats, yes please. Trigger. Let's see what we get to this card. Another Blinding Angel. And now we start to get aggressive. And for 6. I mean, at one point I got a little bit scared of that Exalted Angel, but let's say that everything definitely worked out our way here. Maybe you should have played the Ravenous Rats, but it actually doesn't shorten the clock, so I don't think that I want to play out the Rats. Well, actually it does, never mind, I failed to count the Emissions Factory. I should have definitely played out the Rats. Not that it really matters, like here obviously the best thing that my opponent can have is another Exalted Angel doesn't do anything actually, never mind. Yeah, even a Wrath just has the middle board, so it doesn't really matter. I don't think I want the Furnaces. Oh, although maybe they have the other card, what's his name, the Eternal Dragon. I definitely want Dystopias. I think I want Negators, and I think I want Powder Kegs. Smolder looks pretty bad. In Darkness also looks bad. I'm not gonna bring in Plague just for Mother of Runes. I'm definitely just keeping the Banes for that. Garish obviously doesn't do anything. I want Duresses. Funeral Charm is good. I'm gonna cut a couple of Duresses. Chain of Smog looks okay. I like the Rats. I just cut all the Duresses. Just all blind therapies all the time. I'm just gonna cut the Furnaces actually. I think I'd rather have the Duresses instead of Furnaces. Spinning Darkness is interesting because it actually kills. Well, maybe it gets closer. I guess it doesn't actually kill the Blinding Angel, so maybe it's not worth it. This is a hand. How many turns do I have to find the Black Source? I think I want to keep this. I don't think it's a snap keep. Yeah, 14 Black Sources actually. It's not very likely that we can get much value. To Wasteland or not to Wasteland is a heck of a question. I think not to Wasteland. I think I'm gonna save Wasteland for Soul Land or to simply cast my spells. But I don't have too much faith in Remote Farm. Now this Ancient Tomb is definitely getting Wastelanded. That you can count on. Mind Stone. Into what? Into the Morphed Angel. That I don't love. Definitely gonna Wasteland, because we still need 2 Black Sources for Dystopia. We find the Black Source, are we even doing it? We're not even doing it. We need 2 Black Sources to be doing it. Back-to-back Black Sources would be very good. When it just flips. So they're all in on this Exalted Angel. They have a 5-turn clock, so I have 5 turns to draw 2 Black Sources. I guess only 1 Black Source should be enough now. When it goes for land and attacks. They have something else. Please don't have something too good. Another Angel. That's super annoying actually. Ugh, gross. So I'm going to, I think I'm probably losing now, especially if my opponent has a land. But I think it's better to like attempt to block, like hope that they can't flip. Okay, they can flip. So at this point, yeah, that is obviously one of the things for this deck. Like 14 Black Sources is not a high amount of Black Sources. Notably, had I Wastelanded the land, I don't think I would have been able to get there anyway. I needed a Black Source. I definitely would want 1 more Black Source in this deck. You do have some pretty steep black cost? I think it's just one short, maybe two. And no lands, ship that. No lands, I'm gonna ship this one too. Yes, lands. Okay, this hand is reasonable. I think I want to go just bottom the Bane and the Hypnotic Spectre. I think I'm gonna bottom the Negator. And I'm gonna lead on Swamp because I'm definitely casting Ravenous Rats on turn 2. So by leading on Swamp, if my opponent plays a Mom, I can kill it. Kill the Mother. We untap and we go land Rat. Tooth of Ramos. We really have to dodge an early Angel here or draw an answer. Either of those would be cool. City of Traders. Another Tooth of Ramos. We Shadow Port. I'd rather port than run my Mishra's Factory into a potential Source of Plowshares. The other option would be to like play a morphed Bane of the Living. I think I'm more interested in doing this. Maybe the Bane land is better. My opponent could be playing Wrath of God though. We have not seen one yet. Ooh, no land. It's a big game. I don't think I'm attacking with Factory. Runs into Source of Plowshares. I'm definitely porting again because my opponent didn't do anything. This also opens me up to Disenchant though. No, I think I'm just going to swing for one and port again. 2 mana. Now they have the Mind Stone. So this turn I could potentially do something. Another Swamp is great. So now I'm just gonna play Spectre and I'm porting again the City of Traders. So at least this puts a little bit of pressure on my opponent. Actually, maybe the better line would have been to play the Bane so my opponent can't actually play a morphed Angel. Very interesting. And it looks like they don't have the Angel, but definitely an interesting spot there. I think my opponent has Source to Plowshares. Fine pickup actually. Let's swing. My opponent needs to plow the Hypnotic Spectre here. They do. Don't think I want to snuff out though. I will allow the Mother to live because I need to save this snuff out for a big boy, and I can answer the Mom if this Bane survives. One interesting thing that this deck has is you have a lot of masked answer threats, which is quite compelling to me. Feels like you have a lot of mana requirements, like it seems like a pretty mana hungry deck. So I don't know if maybe the answer is to add one more land or to cut a port. Like the ports are doing insane work right now though, so I don't think I want to be cutting ports. It's a really good pickup. That's an obscenely good pickup. So I guess this is just free attack with both creatures. So I'm forcing the activation here, but I mean if I flip this, it's the same outcome. It doesn't really make a difference. Like what I mean is my Ravenous Rats dice anyway. So this turn I'm gonna take off. And I'm not gonna tap their land. Disenchant. Do I want to shock this Mother of Runes? Or do I just want to flip? I think I just want to spend this turn flipping the Bane of the Living. I'm just gonna chill. My opponent can't really protect about this Bane flip. Even if they have an Exalted Angel, I don't really care. 5 mana. And City of Traders getting destroyed. So this is like best case scenario here. Yeah, this is best possible outcome. So now we flip the Bane, snuff out the Angel, swinging for 6. Yeah, we're looking very good in a multi 4. And this is like a reason to not activate Curse Scroll, right? Because my opponent then wouldn't know about the snuff out. They wouldn't have gone all in on this Angel. But this Angel can't actually get there. We know that, but they don't because they don't know that the last card in our hand is a Snuff Out. So Snuff Out, pay for life. Port you on upkeep. There's no real reason to Funeral Charm. Like we know that they don't have lands because they would have played the Angel earlier. So I think that their hand is like disenchants and like seals and stuff like that. So holding the Funeral Charm, something else would be better. Oh wow. Yeldoran Outpost. Now we could just Funeral Charm to get their last card. Does it really matter? I guess yes. So this way we get their last card. If they have a Plow, it was a Wrath. Big pickup. Big pickup. Insane pickup. We also get to tap the Outpost on upkeep now. So we either force them to activate or to time walk themselves. Yeah, this just worked out very nicely for us. This was pretty nutty. Yeah, this looks like game now. They cycle the Mind Stone because they think that they need to find Source to Plowshares. We also get to... Oh, I should have waited because now they get to cycle the Mind Stone. Oh, they just gave up. Multi 5. Not bad. Not bad at all. That was fun. My opponent's deck was a lot of fun. It looked interesting. Maybe a little bit, no control over your draw steps makes it a little bit... You have like really high highs and very low lows. But it looked like a lot of fun. All right, see you for the next round. On to round number 2. This hand looks pretty solid. Let's keep it. I think I'm gonna go turn 1 basic Swamp, but I'm not gonna cast Cabal Therapy, of course. Opponent goes to 6. Play Swamp, pass the turn. Another swamp. Alright. The rest is better in this situation. It's actually a cool swamp choice right there. Smother is what my opponent picks. Very interesting. Do I just chain here? I mean, if my opponent chooses to send it back, I'm going to be really far ahead. So yes, we definitely chain. I don't think they can afford to send it back. Like, I have a factory, they have exactly one swamp but nothing else. Ravenous Bailout Vendetta. Oh, we're playing against... Aha, that's very telling. Whoa, Jund? Alright. Black-green. The Rock. It's been a minute since we've seen this one. We're gonna play my lands, and my opponent has a 5/5 now. What gets me here? I doubt they're playing survival. I could name something like Recurring Nightmare. I think that's a fine fine thing to name. Smother would be another thing that I could name. Call of the Herd. Woof. Yeah, I'm going to make my opponent discard. Notably, I could have used Funeral Charm to block and pump. I don't think that's a great idea. Getting kind of destroyed here a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. Opponent swings for 5. Another swamp is not great. And I'm not blocking, so I might as well attack. Would love to find a removal spell for the Wurm, would give me a lot of breathing room. Or alternatively, a Skeletal Scrying. Rats is not a terrible draw there. Not a great draw either, to be fair, but yeah, just gonna send it from back. This is pretty rough. I kind of need to chomp block here. I have to take my chomp while I can. It's bad because I could, like, factory. Ugh, they flashback all over the herd. Yeah, we're dead now. Man, this Tempting Wurm got me real good. Bane of the Living. It's a 4/3. That's not enough, so I'm not gonna show them. Okay, game number 2. Definitely all the furnaces are coming in. Perish. Yes, please. Builder Shrine. Yes, please. Dystopia. Yeah, I think Dystopia is good. Am I just cutting therapies on this? I think so. I think that we're going to be cutting therapies on the reses. Chain of Small I kind of like still. Negator is very interesting. So is Powder Keg. Snuff Out probably is fine. Kind of interested in Negator. It's not great against elephants, but could cut the chains for negators, and we can do the opposite on the draw. I may be wrong about that. Maybe it was better for me to just go with the other card. This looks fine. Not like the best card hand I've ever seen, but reasonable. It's also very nice against duress, or against Cabal Therapy in particular. Against duress, like, it's less than ideal, but so here we get to swing for 2. Turn 3, I'm gonna be playing Hypnotic Spectre, I think. Maybe I should have activated Furnace last turn. I was F6'd, but Tempting Wurm. Much riskier than last time. Yeah, I'm just gonna play everything. This time around did not work as well for my opponent, I don't think. So, swing for 2. Getting rid of a Blastoderm. Like, now my opponent cannot actually attack with this Tempting Wurm, because I'm just cracking back for 6 if they do. Oh, okay, so I guess they have another Tempting Wurm. I'm obviously not gonna block and get blown out by a removal spell, right? That is certainly not happening. Call of the Hearth. Okay, so let's do that. And I'm very interested in Wastelanding here, but I'm also kind of interested in drawing a card, so let's actually draw first. The Rack. It's on tap. Now their Swamp is not great, so I'm definitely Wastelanding here. If I swing here, we trade for the Elephant. I could also... I think I'm just attacking with the Hypnotic Spectre. Discard a card at random, Wasteland the land, play a Rack, pass the turn. So now I can trade with the Tempting Wurm. I get blown out by Disenchant though. I think I'm going to trade the Factory for the Elephant and take 5. This works around removal much more nicely. 2 mana Wall of Blossoms. That's a nice pickup. So we swing for 4. The wall blocks. We go to 5. They take 1 damage from the Rack. Actually, I think I'm going to tap the Swamp. Swamp means removal. Oh, they have Naturalize. Okay, I guess it didn't really matter. Tempting Wurm does not attack. My opponent should have definitely attacked there. Because now Hypnotic Spectre is going to take their last card. Upkeep, we tap the Swamp. They're not winning this race here. Swing with Spectre again. Now they can't attack. So they had a turn there where they could have attacked, and now they're in a situation where they can't attack anymore. Because now they get raced back. Treetop Village. Pretty good for them. That's also very good for us. So swing for 2. Now we tap... I guess we tap the Swamp. Made a mistake there. Did not mean to do that. I hope my opponent doesn't find like a Naturalize and just blows me out or anything. Yeah, so now we just take 5. An opponent can't have enough. This is the one turn where they actually can't attack, funnily enough. Okay, so game number 3. Spinning Darkness is kind of exciting. Oh, Powder Keg's definitely coming in. I honestly, that was just a blip. I didn't even think about the fact that this kills the Wurm. And Negator is actually not good, I don't think. But one Chain of Smogs just sounds so random. So I guess I'd rather have a random Spinning Darkness than a random Negator or a random Chain of Smog. Maybe a random Negator is fine. It's real beefy. But it lines up well against my opponent's walls, but it doesn't line up well against their Call of the Hearts tokens and stuff. Yeah, I think I'd rather have Spinning Darkness. This looks pretty amazing. Keep this. Turn 1 Duress again. Man, my opponent's the champion of turn 1 Duress. It's actually not an easy pick here. Powder Keg, Dystopia, I have a lot of angers here. Definitely leading on turn 1 Furnace. It's gonna activate right away so that I can F6. I'm gonna get a Library. Quite strong. Quite strong. This turn I'm just gonna think Rack Charm is the line here. Like there's no really any reason to tap them because my opponent has an active library. So if we just tap them for the turn, they're like, that's great for them. Opponent correctly identifies that they just have to insta tap everything. Another Duress is pretty brutal here. So that takes the Dystopia. And now my opponent can do some pretty painful things to me, but they don't. Alright, so we'll make my opponent discard, but making them discard a random card in the face of... that's a nice pickup actually. Obviously they could have like any removal spell and now this is no good anymore, but at least it can't be Vendetta. It needs to be either Smother or Diabolic Edict, which looks like they have... oh, they have Naturalize. Yeah, that's I think less bad for me. Spectre's more impactful here than the Rack. One's got the land, what are they gonna do? Blastoderm. Don't think I care about that at all. There goes that. I'm gonna leave my opponent with no hand here. But this Blastoderm's not gonna be able to kill me. Target player discards a card. Target player is you. Call of the Herd. Well, I mean, I was going to just pass the turn here, but okay, that's a very good draw. And this is the problem with Blastoderm. This deals 15. This doesn't deal 20. Take 5. Unpaid life, so I'm assuming they have an answer for this Spectre. Cabal Therapy. In the Blind. Naming Bane of the Living. Not sure if that's a good name. So now we're going to attack first, because my opponent could have a Naturalize in hand. Ah! Oh, baby. Oof, that was so hot. That was so hot. Oh, man. Library? No problem. No problem. See you for the next round, folks. Round number 3. This hand looks solid. Yeah, I like this quite a bit. Gemstone Mine. Let's see what we're up against. Dark Ritual. Duress, and that's a nasty turn 1. This seems like very bad news from us. Snuff out, so I guess turn 1 Acroma or something. Another Dark Ritual. Negator. That's a lot less scary than an Acroma. So let's play Factory so I can pump, and then I can just block, and that's it. I don't care about Negator anymore. I guess, I mean, I can't do it right now. Like, I need to actually ooh, that's much better. So do we upkeep this? Because my opponent could have Mana Leak here. I think I'm just going to pass the turn. I think I'm willing to take 5 to make sure that this Smother resolves. So I'll take 5. This may be a little bit too greedy. I'm not sure. Most definitely not greedy enough. Boom. Smother right now. That's a nice pickup. I think I'm just going to Wasteland. Mostly because I drew a second Wasteland. But I don't want to get like plowed. So I think we are smooth sailing now. And my opponent's gonna need to pay if they want to tap Carnophage, but we have Factory. Like I'm definitely gonna try to block here. Like I really doubt they have Vendetta. Okay, that Undiscovered Paradise is very annoying. Yeah, I'm just gonna take 2. I'm gonna Wasteland the Paradise. I could use this turn to draw 1. We're so far up ahead in cards, and I'm not sure my opponent's playing like Lightning Bolt and stuff, so I think I'm just gonna use my mana to draw a card here. Another Factory is very nice. I'm still gonna Wasteland. Lightning Bolt face. Don't think I want to Funeral Charm there. Yeah, opponent doesn't even pay for Carnophage. Sarcomancy. So I think I'm just gonna... I guess I should have Funeral Charm on the end step. Kind of a big deal here. Winter Orb is the last card. Send the turn back. Definitely should have Charmed last turn. Untap, basic swamp, going to make my opponent discard. I don't want for their card to be a bolt and they're just missing a red source. A good thing I didn't get hit by that. So this is nice. So now I'm going to be able to spend 1 turn. That's a weird card to be playing in that deck. I guess it kind of makes sense. A weird card. This is a little bit awkward now. Because like I can play Bane, but that means that I have to chomp. Probably still interested in doing that though. Because now I'm forcing my opponent to attack. And I get to eat 2 of the creatures. We go down to 2, which is not ideal, but now it's a forced line basically. Second swamp is good for me. So we activate, block 2 of these, pump. We go to 2 and we're gonna start to swing now. Duress doesn't really do anything. We would love to draw the rack. The rack is my best draw here. Winter Orb. That is fine. Untap the factory. Play a land. Think I continue swinging? Maybe that's wrong. Okay, now we can't swing anymore. Rats. No, I can't play rats this turn, unfortunately. I'm gonna play rats next turn. It's a better turn to do so. Let's pass the turn. We untap Wasteland. Let's play rats. This is pretty nice because like it uses my mana very effectively. Well, Negator. I would have been able to cast that. That would have been a problem. With any land of stuff, that would have been able to do the thing there. Kind of slightly up. Ooh, that's a big pickup. Huge pickup. So I think I want to Duress now because their card could be a Lightning Bolt. Negator. Do I need to flashback? I think I need to Therapy because if they have a land, then I'm in really bad shape. Send the turn back. Yep, opponent doesn't even attempt to use Carnophage there. Bad Moon. This still doesn't let them attack, which is good for me. Fairness. We're not gonna cast that. We're just gonna pass the turn. Opponent takes 3. Carnophage is not particularly strong at at the playing defense. Duress. Yeah, you got me. I don't think that's a good play. They want to hold cards in hand because now they're going to take 1 more damage from the rack. It's a nice pickup. Play that one. So 3 down to 4, and my opponent is now deterministically dead, I want to say. Because now they're going to take 2, and then I just deal 2 with the Curse Scroll. And that should be game. Another factory. Sure. Oh, I forgot to. Duh. I'm an idiot. Oh, I also could have like attacked for lethal, so that was doubly terrible. I hope my opponent's card in hand is not a red source or a Lightning Bolt and they top deck the red source, because that would be very bad for me. I missed lethal twice. Could have attacked, or I could have. Awkward. So we're gonna make an assembly worker. Gonna make another assembly worker here. Up here. Pump, pump, and I might as well pump that one again. I want to pump this one because if my opponent has a removal spell for this, then the Carnophage survives, which means that they have to pay 1 and upkeep. So another Carnophage. We untap, and we're just going to send the turn back. They died to the upkeep trigger. Next game, I mean. Man, my cards kind of suck, huh? Snuff out, not great. Duresses, kind of not great either. Powder Keg's good. I like Powder Keg. Burning Darkness doesn't hit anything. Dystopia doesn't hit anything. Negator doesn't really hit anything either. Guess I'd rather have Furnace than all of these discard spells. Maybe I want Scrying. I think this is okay. I'm not stoked about this. I'm kind of stoked about this hand. I think this hand looks pretty good. Quite solid overall. Turn 1 Negator would be a problem for this hand. Don't really have any good answers to a turn 1 Negator. Opponent move to 6. Basic Swamp. Another Ritual hand. Duress. I mean, if they have Duress into Therapy, they're going to get a lot of value. At the same time, they're not going to get that much value really because they 2-for-1 themselves with the Dark Ritual. Yeah, this is one of very clear example of when Dark Ritual just falls short and why I prefer to just play good cards instead. Actual mana, maybe take it a little bit slower, but like what did my opponent really achieve? Like they used the discard spell, discarded in a rack, is tempo negative, didn't really progress their game plan at all, and they played 1 mana 2/2, which I'm gonna blank next turn thanks to this factory. I mean, I blank if I could. I'm not going to. I'm just gonna play a rat instead because I want to keep them under the rack. But maybe they have like Skittering Scourge. That's a card I'm a little bit more scared of. I'm not gonna lie. I'm still gonna rat here, and I'm probably gonna take the Chomp. That was a good discard, by the way. So now I'm gonna be able to play a. Oh, they didn't attack. That was a mistake for sure. They should have definitely attacked. So definitely gonna play a Morph Bane and send it back. And my opponent has this turn to find a removal spell. Next turn I'm gonna be able to flip the Bane and start to get in there. I'm gonna take the Chomp here because this rat is dying anyway. Untap, let's play a port, and I guess it doesn't matter. I can just like, oh no, actually it does matter because they take 2. They take 2 for they take 1 for the Sarcomancy. It actually matters to flip now, and we're very well set up right now. Even if my opponent like goes Land Negator, we're kind of fine. And if they don't go Land Negator, they're super dead. They have a Withered Wretch, totally fine. So let's Duress. Oof, big pickup. Let's make my opponent discard. Oh, this is the dream right here. Oh man, this is very sexy. Now their 1 land is gonna get tapped and the other one's gonna get bounced to hand. Quite exciting turn of events here. They're just chomping. Seems a little bit aggressive because now they're taking 1. I don't think that's a good chomp block there. I do think this is a great turn for me though. I'm not sure how my opponent gets back from this. Yep, they're holding cards, but holding cards mean they just take more damage from Bane, so they're literally just dead on board here. They're still taking 1 from the rack, plus 1 from this Archomancy. Whoa, that was cool. That worked out very well. 3-0, man, good stuff. Here we go on to round number 4. Man, this hand is so good. If I find lands, I'm gonna keep it. It's a very fine hand. Obviously, there's the possibility that my opponent's just not playing a creature deck, and then this is a mull to 5, but I still think it's a keep on the draw. Opponent mull to 3. Mulligan to 3. Well, I'm gonna upkeep, make them discard a card, that's for sure. Man, mull to 3 is brutal. So by doing this, even if they're playing Dreadnought, maybe they kept like land Dreadnought or something. Oh, second land. Have a Rishadan port here. I think I'm just gonna play some racks and start to deal some damages. 2 rack triggers, Dreadnought, and we have the removal spell. This is game, folks. Pretty unlucky for my opponent to mulligan so low against the discard spell deck that also happened to draw the removal spell. I do think that it's quite likely that our Dreadnought matchup is just extremely good. At least game 1. Not even gonna let my opponent receive their damage. Just gonna kill that Dreadnought. Yeah, there's the concession. That's a non-game. Definitely unlucky that my opponent just did not draw well. Couple therapy. This is good. Negators. Yes, please. We can cut these Banes of the Living. And we want Powder Keg. We do not want Phyrexian Furnaces. And that's it. Because Snuff Out kills Dreadnought. Smother and an Edict kill Dreadnought. I kind of want another Skeletal Scrying for Curse Scroll. Yeah, I really like the look of this. Very enjoyable sight. Mull to 3, man. That's so rough for them. This hand is strong. Shall be kept. Another Duress, man. Like, this hand is just brutal. Double Dreadnought? Oh boy. I mean, my opponent can just, you know, draw an Enabler and put a Dreadnought into play on turn 2, and I'm gonna be in a lot of trouble. But if they don't, it's not gonna be pretty for them. It's a rat. So let's go with another Duress first. I'm gonna take the Chain of Vapor. And now we're gonna therapy and absolutely decimate my opponent's will to live. Phyrexian Dreadnought. Oof. Man, this deck is firing on all cylinders. Opponent goes land. Even get to play around days here. Drop a rat. Now they're gonna most likely they discarded foil instead of the tide. Well, now what I get to do is to just play the rack and just flashback Cabal Therapy. My opponent should have discarded the Parallax Tide. Maybe they forgot that I had the therapy in the graveyard. Man, deck's just firing on all cylinders here. Man, what a brutal start. My opponent's hand was pretty reasonable, but oh man, did stuff happen. Shout out to Ravenous Rats, by the way. Just like that, the clock is on, folks. That's a top deck. I think what I'm going to do, actually, is what I'm going to upkeep Funeral Charm, then Funeral Charm them on draw step, and then make sure that I resolve. So with this trigger on the stack, I'm going to make my opponent discard the card. And then I'm going to be able to resolve Hypnotic Spectre. And from that point on, then things are not going to look good for my opponent. Another Tithe. So now they do that. Now draw step, discard the card. There goes a Dreadnought. Man, this has been a game of magic. So my opponent can gush here, and they can potentially just luck sack into gush plus Dreadnought and what's his name? So like they're not entirely out of the blue. They're like 99% out of the blue. My opponent has seen enough. Man, that was oh that one itched a little bit, but man. That's so devastating. All right, cool. 4-0. On to the 5th match. This hand looks great. Let's keep it. We're on the play. We get to the rest on 1, potentially Chain of Smog turn 2. We also have Diabolic Edict in case we're playing against some sort of Goblins deck or of sorts. Enchantress. Sure. Let's take a Seal of Cleansing. Bane. Gonna be looking pretty solid here. And Blasted Foothills. Get to play a Factory. And I think this is gonna look weird, but I'm going to pass the turn. I think my opponent's going to play an Enchantress, and then I'm going to Edict. The idea here is that I don't want them to draw any other cards because it's so bad for me. So by sequencing in this way, I now get a turn where I get to play Bane of the Living. Otherwise, my opponent is going to like take a turn where they get free reign with an Enchantress in play. which is very bad for me for obvious reasons. So now, yeah, I'm gonna play the Bane this turn, and next turn we can flip the Bane and wasteland the brushland. There's the second Enchantress, there's the Windswept Heath. It looks like they did find Mirror's Guile. Yeah, okay. Let's flip the Bane. This kills the Enchantress, wasteland the brushland, getting there for 3. Next turn we get to chain plus swing for 6. That Mirror's Guile was a very good draw for my opponent. Allow them to draw a card and then set up their future draw steps. Definitely very, very strong. Now we'll see if my opponent plays a seal. Did fetch, they're playing some lands and a presence. So we're gonna get to chain here, which is quite nice. Gonna get rid of my opponent's last 2 cards. We get to swing for 8, and my opponent's gonna get to throw back the Chain of Smog, but obviously it doesn't really matter. Mirror's Guile plus presence is a combo though. Opalescence and Seal of Cleansing. So notably here, we are gonna need to get a little bit lucky. We're gonna hope that they do some whiffing over there, because they can just find something like a replenish and then they're like right back into the game. So like we're definitely ahead, but all of this can be turned around very quickly. That's why the Enchantress deck is so good. There's Exploration. Now they're gonna start drawing some cards. Another Guile. So they drew all the cards that were on top. Can now bring them down to 2. Notably, these Ravenous Rats, I'm gonna play them because it's gonna mess with their fetch land. But again, my opponent has some game-winning draws here. So now Swords to Plowshares for the Bane is not going to be enough. They're going to need more. Or they just cannot fetch. Pretty good for us that these Enchantress decks have moved away from Elephant Grass, because that would be really hard to beat for our deck. I think they have maybe 1 or 2 copies in the sideboard though. Oh, that's a nice line right there. So they get now 3 new looks. Alright, we got there. Winning game 1 seems like a very good deal, because now we have Furnaces. I'm actually going to put this stuff over here on the side too. Plagues, Negator, Dystopia, all of these cards I think I want. But this is just too many cards. Obviously the Smothers are going to go. I think the Curse Scrolls are going to go. It's enough out obviously. And past that it gets a little bit trickier. Like it just gets to a point where we just have too many answers for Enchantresses, right? We have Edict, we have Bane, we have like Negators, Dystopia, Perish, Plague, like it's just too much. So we have to choose properly. I think I'm going to cut the Perish because the Plagues seem like a better answer. I still want the Scryings. I think I want all my cards here. Therapy is also quite enticing. I think Therapy may be better than Funeral Charms. Maybe we can do something like that. And now maybe 4 Furnaces is a little bit too much. So bring in the other Funeral Charm here. Or we could bring in Skeletal Scrying. Skeletal Scrying number 3. Nah, this looks fine. Let's go with this. Now we're going to be on the draw. Probably, I mean, this is a great hand, but being on the draw means my opponent's going to get 1 turn ahead of me, which can turn into multiple cards, and turn 1 Guile is very scary for us because that gives them infinite selection. We cannot interact with the top of their deck. So here with the rest, we take the Exploration, just leave them with the redundant Guile, which is not bad when they have Serra's Sanctum, to be honest. Wasteland would be a fantastic draw for me. There's the Sanctum. Sacred Ground. It's kind of annoying. This is an interesting thing here. I mean, I probably just have to take the Opalescence, right? Because my opponent can just cast it next turn. So let's just name Opalescence, leave my opponent with Plains plus Guile, and send the turn back. I mean, I could use sacrifice the Factory to get rid of the Guile. I don't think that's worth it. I do think this upcoming turn I'm going to land a Dystopia, so I can start churning at their Serra's Sanctum value. Like the first Dystopia is only going to destroy a Mirror's Guile, which is not ideal, but Plains, then you have Guile and 1 unknown. They play out the Guile and play a Wave. Just playing everything out, huh? So I think I'm going to Dystopia here. I'm a little bit tempted to like land a rack and start clocking them, but I think that attempting to keep the Serra's Sanctum in check is going to be important. It's also possible that they're just setting up Replenish, which would suck for me, but not much I can do about that. They found, yeah, Replenish. So now, I think we're just dead, right? Can we win now? Take 3. That turn 1 Guile did so much work. Diabolic Edict execute. So play the rack. How does this work with Engineered Plague? So these have no type, so I cannot do this with Plague. So maybe Perish is better than a Plague. I hadn't thought about that. Let's make that switch. And maybe I need Furnace more than I'm giving it credit. I think I'm gonna cut on the draw Chain of Smog. Just gotta keep Funeral Charm. Seems like Replenish is my opponent's best card, so with a Guile they can just float or Replenish forever. Keeping this hand. What am I naming? Am I naming Mirror's Guile? Seems a little bit lackluster, but Mirror's Guile, Exploration, or Gothian Enchantress are the things that I want to name. I'm gonna most to 6. I think I'm gonna name Mirror's Guile. Would have loved that to have it the rest. And the reason to name Mirror's Guile here, okay, is to because I can tap their land next turn. Obviously they had Exploration, which is bad for me, but the goal was to draw. Oh, they top deck the Isle, of course. I guess that happened. Let's play a port, and I'm just going to, I guess, upkeep, tap. Man, that's a really good draw for them. Very strong. So the goal now, maybe I should have Therapied. I could have Therapied Presence, because now they put a land on top, and they can cast the Presence this turn thanks to the Exploration. Or they can just, you know, draw that instead. Sure. So their last card in hand is Replenish. I think we're going to Dystopia this turn. We're going to have to start churning through my opponent's onboard enchantments. I don't think this is looking good for us, but it's at least doing some work here. We're going to Therapy, name Replenish, but we are 100% at the mercy of the top of my opponent's deck at this point. Opalescence. Okay, that's not the worst actually. Like if my opponent can't really attack, play a land. Oh, yeah, 100%. So we're gonna block here, take the trade. Like still, like this allows me to actually kill this, which is otherwise unkillable for me. And now I get to Therapy, name Replenish. Obviously my opponent can now top deck a Replenish. They can do a bunch of things that are going to be very bad for me, and they can set all that up with Mirror's Guile. So we're not really in good shape. Also, they can just drop Parallax Wave, and I'm kind of dead. Not entirely dead, but very dead. But now at least they're not drawing from Enchantress's Presence. And our Gothian Enchantress doesn't really do anything. Oh, they just draw swords. So there goes that. But now we can go Spectre plus... kind of want to play a Rack. And I think I'm going to be taking this turn off. Like, if my opponent, the best thing they can do was to play a Swords to Plowshares, I feel like this is a window where I can attempt to start clocking. Like, I don't think it gets better. So I'm not going to be porting this turn. But now I'm set up in a position where I can actually start attacking for 4 plus the damage from the rack. And my opponent's not drawing cards anymore. But again, they have top decks that just win them the game on the spot. Sabol's Web. Pretty annoying. Okay, so now we're going to be swinging for 5. Swing with Hypnotic Spectre. My opponent can cast literally everything, so there's no reason for me to port. But we are hoping that this rack gets me there in time. Also, they can't actually attack with the Guile into this factory. Seal of Cleansing. That's going to buy them a significant amount of time. Let's draw something good. Or not. But again, I'm happy that this is the best thing they could do. Would love to find something like Skeletal Scrying, Phyrexian Furnace, another rack. All of those would be good draws for me. They didn't play anything. It's a good draw. So I have to assume that they found Swords to Plowshares here. Oh, Second Sanctum. Alright, this rack was a very good draw. Maybe I should have attacked with the factory. Yeah, I should have attacked with the factory last turn. Man, by the skin of our teeth. But we got there. Wow. Alright, 5-0. Mono black, baby. Let's go. Alright, it's time for the last match in this league. Seems like a reasonable hand. I'm playing against Riki, who loves to play Stasis, which is not particularly great hand against Stasis. It's not bad, but I'm still going to use this turn to swing for 2. Send the turn back. I think I'll just slam this Hypnotic Spectre. Kick and Daze, Counterspell, Chain of Smog. Yeah, just Chain. Okay. As well as change he has to combo though. So like we effectively discarded a card from his hand. It's gonna do the same thing again. Now we Arcane Denial. Fine with me. Definitely gonna be drawing 2 here. Smother, Rats, Wasteland. Another rat. Just play a couple of rats. He discards 2 lands. I think I just want to be very aggressive, and I just have to like hope that he takes his time to find Stasis. Okay, it looks like he did find it. But I don't think that things get better for me. I'm gonna sandbag this Rishadan Port though. I want to hold it to mess with his land count, and I'm not gonna run. Never mind, he already has the Gush. I was gonna say I don't want to run spells into his Thwart. Not gonna play that out. Swamp is it. At this point, the best possible draw for us is just to find as many swamps as we can. So if we can draw a swamp every single turn, that would be the ideal case scenario. He is hitting a lot of land drops. Gush is very good at making it so you get land drops down. And a pitch Smother here on the Vice. Yeah, that's annoying. Now we're gonna start taking damage. So I definitely want to wasteland the Forsaken City. And now we're gonna show the port. I assume he's gonna chain here if he can, so he can get a full untap, unless he has more land drops to hit. Yep, Gush is really nasty there. I mean, if we draw a port though, did not draw a port. We have to draw our other Rishadan port. I think I'm going to Cabal Therapy here. I guess this allows him to thwart, so maybe this is not good. Okay, I think I've seen enough. I don't think I should have fired there, though I cast it and I immediately regret it, but I don't think it matters too much. Negators look good. Cut Snuff out, cut Smothers, Diabolic Edict. I guess I'm bringing another Skeletal Scrying, not because it's good, but because, oh, no, actually, Powder K is nice. Curse Scroll sounds probably worse than Scrying and the Extra Furnace. This looks good. Bane seems lackluster, but it's a threat. Like, it's a way to actually end the game, so not great, but it's a 5 mana, 4/3. We're gonna shift this hand. I need some actual discard. Yeah, this is good though. Let's keep this. I'm gonna bottom the Bane. Duress turn 1. I'll take the Gush. Place an island. Play Factory. I think I'm just playing the Duress here. I'm just gonna play the Furnace. And I think I'm just gonna cycle it around step. He plays an island. I'm just gonna do this. Funeral Charm. Let's play a Rat. Upheaval? That is a weird one. Place out the Forsaken City. Well, we're not drawing super well here. Let's lead with Duress. So he's got nothing, huh? Take the Chain of Vapor. His hand is Daze Island Forsaken City. Gonna start a clock. Place another island. We're not drawing well. I feel like we really needed to draw well here, unfortunately for us. This is Funeral Charm is like +2 damage, so it's a shock, I guess, which is pretty funny. Black Vice. Okay, now that's a card. That's an actually relevant card. Get in there for 3. And now this, hopefully this Hypnotic Spectre is going to do some work for me. Pyroclasm? Oh man. At least this Pyroclasm forced him to use that. I guess I'm going to draw step Funeral Charm. He drew Gush, or is he going to just hardcast Daze this? I'm paying. Man, that Pyroclasm was brutal. What's this? He's going to Arcane Denial his own Daze. So now he's going to draw 3. It's kind of gross. It's a tight play. Can I please draw a Rack? Yeah, Basic Swamp's not a great draw. We're gonna get in there for 2. Not like there's much else that I can do here. I'm gonna sandbag this Funeral Charm. I don't know how useful that is. So there's the Stasis, find Swamp, and now it's just gonna be a matter of, do I draw something useful before he get the Gush? Wasteland doesn't really do anything, but still gonna play it out. I guess I can destroy like Shivan Reef or something. Unlike the previous one, this game's not over though. I think I don't play out the Negator. Interesting. So there's the Shivan Reef. So let's blow this up, play Wasteland, send it back. So unfortunately he can always just like choose to tap the mana. So there's not much for me to do here. That's actually a card here. Funeral Charm. Make him this card. Can try to get him down to 1 with this Negator, which is really sad. He thwarts here. That's actually kind of decent for me though, because I got him to use the thwart. So now if I find a Rack, I may be onto something. So he's got 2 islands and 2 unknown. Send the turn back. We do have a significant amount of mana. It's Bitchin Island. Okay, so he wants to hold up counterspell, I guess. Shivan Reef. Go to my turn. I think I'm just blowing up the reef. 2 mana. Gonna flashback with Flash of Insight. It's not bad. Just have to send the turn back. Bitch's Island. So I guess he's maybe a little bit item flooded. Let's see. Skeletal Scrying. Probably not great right now. Want to find Duresses, cards like that. I guess my best draw would be Cabal Therapy because I have this random Rat sitting in play, so that would be quite useful. They have the Wasteland, send the turn back. I mean, we drew all 4 Wastelands, so maybe I should have actually saved the Wasteland to... If I had saved the Wasteland instead of using the Shivan Reef, like I was just not playing around drawing the 4th Wasteland because it's just kind of very unlikely for that to be the case, for that to actually happen. Gator. I think it's just going to chain his Stasis and we're going to go at it again. Or maybe not. I really need to draw this card spell. Okay, if I'm not going to draw these cards, at least drawing a Swamp. I really don't want to drop this Negator because if he has chain, we literally lose on the spot. Because he bounces my Negator and also bounces his Stasis. That's actually a good one. That is actually a good one. Savos Web. Yep, that's good. So here's a Chain of Smog. Thwarts. That's worst case scenario. That's absolute worst case scenario. So I guess I need to wait until I find the Duress or something to protect now, like a Rack or something like that. The Factory, not paying for the Forsaken City. That's notable. I'm at 17 now. I'm going to be taking 2 this turn. That's coming up. Man, I really want to find a Cabal Therapy. Counter spell. He's pitching real cards. I'm going to start to take some real damages here. He's just holding up 2 mana. Funeral Charm doesn't really do it, I think. I'm going to pitch this Bane of the Living. Ur Stasis. Oh, he found Gush. That's pretty devastating, not gonna lie. No, he found the second Vice. I could Chain of Smog myself. Oh, okay, that's what I was waiting for all this time. Finally. He doesn't have Thwart. Arcane Denial. So let's play this. And I'm gonna chain myself. He gushes in response. I guess he's looking for foil or something, because now he doesn't have Daze. So I'm gonna discard Negator, Scrying, and I'm gonna make a copy. And I'm gonna copy target myself. Gonna discard Rat's Charm, and I'm gonna make a copy, and now I'm gonna target him. This allows me to draw 2, which is my goal here, because I need more cards. I need some different resources. So by doing so, I'm now allowed to see some new cards. I would not be surprised if he just pitches everything here, because he kind of needs to answer my keg. So let's draw 2. The Rack and a Swamp. Powder Keg. Oh, I was gonna chain now? Yeah, that sucks. Finally found the chain. It's possible he was sandbagging it forever though. I mean, I'm gonna suck these lands because there's no reason not to. At least forces him to use 1 more mana. It's not bad though. Man, this game has been super cool. Very intense game. Base pitching an island. Imagine he's gonna play a second island. Yeah, that makes sense. Now he's gonna play the Stasis again. He does not redeploy the Vice. Cabal Therapy is the big winner. Draw another Rat. Doesn't actually do anything. Now he pays for Stasis. Pitching Impulse. 2 mana up. No island to play. Cabal Therapy, please. No. No Cabal Therapy. So I'm gonna have to take a point here, maybe 2. But I want to give myself 1 more shot at finding Cabal Therapy. Pays with an island and gushes. Gross. So that's probably gonna be enough for this game to be over. There's the second Vice. And I guess if I find Therapy right now, no. I'm gonna play a Rack so that I can stay off the Vices for a turn. But to say that it's not looking good would be an understatement. Oh, just double Fire Ices me? That's a cool way to go about it. Gets me down to 4, then double Fire and Ice. That's sick. Well played. Well played by Ricky. This was a super cool match. His version of Stasis is very interesting. A little bit skeptical of, you know, just a grand total of probably 8 red sources to cast your Pyroclasms of Fire and Ices, but the concept is very nice. Alright, 5-1. Alright folks, so a grand 5-1 record, which is overall very nice. Super well rounded. I feel like this deck may be a little bit underrated actually, because the last time that I played, I think I also went 5-1. So yeah, I mean, the deck seems to be very consistent at what it does, and I do like the fact that like this card overperformed. Like Bane of the Living looked very good. I could see myself playing more copies of this card. It's just that by the time it comes down, even against, you know, this card doesn't really shine against goblins and stuff like that, but this deck has such a significant amount of this card that by the time the Vein actually shows up, it may be already fine. Like the cost may already be clear. Funeral Charm also looked very interesting and did some very good work. The card that was the awkwardest was the Curse Scroll. This was the single card that I was like, I'm not sure if this is really worth playing. I mean, it makes sense. Like you want a way to like close the game out, and this is technically a sort of form of card advantage. It is also kind of flexible, which is cool, but it's just so expensive. And as we said at the beginning of the video, which was proven, this deck is super mana hungry. Like all of our cards are very expensive. We have Sylvan Scrying to refuel and to, you know, we need a lot of mana to do that. We want to be spending our mana every single turn. And yeah, I could see like this was definitely like the most awkward card in the entire deck. I didn't get to activate it a single time, even though I drew it more than once. But it was simply never activated, never had the mana, never had the need also. So that's another, like a little bit of a hate for the card. I do understand and I agree that there's going to be certain contexts in which this card is going to be nuts. For example, if you are playing the mirror match, this seems like one of the best possible cards that you could have in your deck. to answer opposing factories, opposing like hypnotic specters, like whatever you want. Like this just kind of deals with everything. So this has a place, I guess. I just don't think that this deck is particularly good at taking advantage of it in your average matchup, unlike a deck like Burn, obviously, because Burn just like shocking your face, like that's enough value. If this is 2 or 4 or even 6 worth of colorless value, that's already worthy of a card in this light deck. That's not the case here. So here, like, we're kind of trying to use it more for a board control deck more so than a game ender, because like once you get racks going, like the game just ends. So the context in which you're doing that and you're using Curse Scroll, you like your removal is just so good that there's kind of no need for that. So yeah, this is the card that I would consider cutting. Also, I kind of want one more swamp. Multiple times I was forced to mulligan because we only have 14 swamps, which seems like maybe 1 or 2 too little. So I would want one more swamp, especially when I'm trying to cast like Dystopia and Hypnotic Specters on turn 3. So that's something to keep in mind as well. And also, as I just said a couple of times already, this is a very mana hungry deck because your factories, your ports, they're all doing stuff, and you want to be taking advantage of that. So besides that, the deck performed very, very well, honestly better than I expected. And like, for example, against Enchantress, like against Dreadnought, it wasn't really that much of a surprise, but even against a deck like Enchantress, sure, they have stuff that you cannot really interact with, like namely just what happened in that second game where my opponent just like replenished all of the stuff that I discarded. But even when they have the replenish, if they happen to draw it, then you're in a situation where you can discard the replenish and just set up the future turns in such a way where like you just overwhelm them. So also the match against Dreadnought was particularly exciting. Like how I slowly dismantled literally everything they had going on was very, very cool. Okay, cool. That is gonna wrap up this video. Super cool deck, and I think this is probably gonna qualify me for the playoffs. So maybe I will be shooting another video with the deck. Very cool, and I'm excited to try it out. I also thought of a black-red version of the deck, which is a little bit different, which I am hoping that at some point I get to explore. But as of right now, this is going to be it. Thank you so much for watching, folks. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you to Phil, Lorraine, and shout out to the Sioux crew. Hope you have a great event coming up, and I'll see you in the next video, folks. Take care, and long live Premodern. Bye-bye.